Welcome everyone to Mailed Fuzz News. I am Peter, that is Tara, and this is your Friday edition of the news. We've got some movie stuff, we've got some TV stuff, we got some interesting movie stuff actually. We're going to kick things off with a franchise that is near and dear to both our hearts. We're going to talk about Predator.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Yeah, and it's not... It's kind of murky news in that it might mean no Predator things for a while, potentially, if something else... if the other example of this is anything to go by, it might tangle up Predator for a bit. But it's good in the sense that people who are owed something might get it. So, have you been familiar with the ongoing legal issues with Friday the 13th?
No.
So basically, there's a clause that I'm sure is not in contracts anymore, but for a time, seemingly in the 80s, there was a clause where after 35 years, the original writers could get the copyright back to movies they wrote. And obviously, studios and producers hate this. They don't want this to happen. So, Friday the 13th's been an incomplete thing that they had to stop making updates for the video game because all overnight it became this like tangled legal dispute where they're still trying to figure out like, does the writer of Friday the 13th get the rights back, and therefore he has the rights to Jason and they can't do anything with it. That's why there's been no Friday the 13th movies for the last few years, so on and so on. And this Predator news is a little interesting because there was a tease of this without anyone knowing that it was a tease for this specifically. Marvel announced a new comic like a month ago, maybe 2 months ago now, a new Predator issue 1 that was going to come out in June or July. And all of a sudden, a couple of weeks ago, they pulled it from the catalog. No one could order it, and all of the like Predator like art and variants that were also going to sell around the same time all get pulled. Every Predator product got pulled. There's no explanation. And then just today, this news comes out that the writers Jim and John Thomas, who wrote Predator, the 35-year mark of the copyright, which is presumably when they sold their script or given their script, which at the time was called Hunters, before they changed the title. Apparently on April 17th, that 35-year period is up. And they want their copyright back. Since that was in the contract, they could take it back.
Wow.
So that's where we are. And apparently, what's funny is that apparently they put in like a notice, if you will, like a legal reminder to like Fox. I think it says here for 6 years. They said, hey, in 6 years this is happening and we're going to want our copyright back. And apparently there was never an issue. And I wonder the reason if the reason why Fox never bothered like fighting it is because they knew they were selling it this thing, so they didn't care. They were like, well, we don't care.
Do you think they want the property back just because they know it's worth money and they can sell it again?
Yeah, well, because I mean, what they'll do is they won't outright sell it this time. What they'll do is they'll make sure they earn a profit, or they'll earn a cut of everything. Because right now, I'm sure Jim and John Thomas don't get money for new Predator things. I'm sure they get paid a fee at the time for the script, and that was pretty much it. At least that's my assumption. There may be more layers to it than that, but this is them taking back control and having a say in what happens with it. And apparently Disney have been trying to like fast track a Predator movie. They've got like a working title called Skulls, which is like a Predator movie that's in development.
Is it a sequel to the Shane Black one?
I don't think so. What's interesting though is that Dan Trachtenberg, who did 10 Cloverfield Lane, is the one that's meant to be directing this movie, which is somewhat promising. But that could be halted. Like if there is a legal dispute here, if Disney want to try and fight this, it could end up with a messy court situation where no one can do it with Predator for a while until it's cleared up, one way or the other. And honestly, like, as much as I don't like the idea of things being tangled up, if they're entitled to this, if they had in their contract that they could get the rights back and have control over their property, they should get it back. And
yeah, I agree completely. And so, it's not that, it's not just because the last movie wasn't very good.
No, not at all.
I think, yeah, if it's theirs, then yeah, they absolutely should give it back. Like, I actually think 35 years is too long of a clause for creators, honestly. Like, I think it's important for, the little guy to stand up against the big corporations. Like, this is a David and Goliath, and David's winning.
At best, they're in their mid-50s right now, but they're probably older. It's been 35 years, right? So, like, they're already, like, even if you sell your script at 20, you're going to be in your mid-50s. And I'm sure this clause has changed. I'm sure they don't have this anymore. But what I don't want to happen here is for them to set a precedent, particularly probably Friday the 13th, but the one that sets the precedent, since that's the one that's already so ongoing, is that this clause basically just, like, gets removed, and they say, this doesn't count anywhere. So now every writer who thought they could get their thing back at a certain point is going to be told they can't. So in the same way with Friday the 13th, like, even though Friday the 13th is one of the few things I'm okay with them sequeling forever, because it's so sequel. Yeah, it's just I just want to see Jason kill people in more fun ways. Like, you can keep doing that forever. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm okay waiting until the person who deserves some credit from it. Yes.
Hockey season ended months ago.
Quality reference. Quality reference. Check out our review of the 1980s version of The Blob on the Atomic Cinema Experiment for more context for that joke. So, yeah, so it's basically, there's not much more to say other than hopefully I want it to be dealt with quick, but not at the expense of the people who are owed something getting what they're owed. So hopefully Disney just play ball and just go with it and say, okay, let's make a deal. We can keep making things, and you get your new cut because you technically own the rights now. But we'll see.
When did Disney got it when they acquired Fox?
Yeah, this was a Fox thing, so they just got that with Fox. Which, when did that officially finish and go through? Was that early last year? Or was it the year before? Because obviously we knew about it for a long time before the actual, was locked in.
I don't know.
Time
last year's a blur.
Yeah, time's weird. But
Yeah, I Predator is a movie that is very near and dear to my heart, just because of the age of when I watched it and the influence of my love of film. But it is doesn't my love of the Predator does not outweigh my hate of capitalism and corporations, and so obviously I'm rooting for these guys. And the last movie we got wasn't very good, unfortunately, but I do think there are great stories that you can tell, and with a new studio that's overseeing things, like, there could be more freedom for people to have the ability to tell a story they want to tell. Unfortunately, the stories I heard about what Shane Black went through for his last movie was that the movie that came out was very different than the one that he intended. So, which is a shame, because I very much enjoy Shane Black, and it seemed like a great move for him to make the next Predator film.
Oh yeah, it was like a match made in heaven when we found out Shane Black was coming back to Predator. But then,
hell yeah, and he had just made The Nice Guys, which was such a great film.
So just to clarify exactly what stage we're at with this, Jim and John Thomas have filed a lawsuit seeking confirmation of successfully recapturing rights to the franchise. So this is basically them saying, we want you to admit that we're getting this back because you keep not talking to us. But the California Federal Court to say that Disney, which now owns Twitch Fox, is standing in the way. So yeah, this is from Bloody Disgusting I'm reading this from. So the Thomas brothers are seeking to exploit copyright law's termination provision, which allows authors to cancel transfers after waiting a period of time, typically 35 years, for newer works. Maybe this is still a thing. Maybe this is something we'll go through in a long time for other things. That said, though, most things that come out now are things that are owned by corporations anyway. Like, it's not like superheroes and stuff like that. They're never going to go through this because they're all ironclad, I think. But so yeah, that's an interesting caveat. And nothing in this article says that's why all those comic products were pulled. I'm just kind of assuming that that's why, but this makes sense if this is, happening at the same time. They're delaying until they sort that out in some way.
Yeah, otherwise it's quite a coincidence.
Yeah. So, very odd. But hey, what's my phone telling me? Internal storage. My God, it always runs out. Moving on then to other things. Indiana Jones 5, Mads Mikkelsen has joined the cast. So we got Phoebe Waller-Bridge earlier in the week, or late last week, and now we have Mads Mikkelsen. Remember James
Phoebe
Mangold's directing?
Waller-Bridge is going to be in it?
Yeah, that was news. We had that in the show on Monday. On Monday's news. Or Tuesday's news, I guess. When it came out.
Cool. I like her.
Yeah. Yeah. Harrison Ford's love interest.
I like Nat.
Keep getting younger.
Oh, you think that's what it is?
No, I'm joking.
I mean, she's old enough to make that decision for herself, but...
I'm sure maybe she's even the one getting torch passed to her. Maybe we'll have Lady
Indy?
Yeah. Well, Indiana, I guess, is a woman's name too, so yeah, I'll just be Indiana Jones. But it doesn't have to be a lady version of Indiana.
Maybe it's just Anna Jones.
Anna Jones.
She's independent. Anna Jones.
Independent Jones. Oh.
Strong, independent woman, don't need no man.
Yeah. Production is to start in the summer, and the plot details have still been, locked tight. We don't know who Mickelson's going to play. My first instinct was to assume the villain, but I mean, they're not telling us.
I mean, yeah. Me too.
Yes. So next up, Prime has announced something, and maybe this is like a reaction to the Snyder Cut. They want to do their own Snyder Cut or something. They're doing, I'll get this title correct, Borat supplemental reportings retrieved from floor of stable containing editing machine.
Okay.
Which is the best thing ever. It's actually not a new cut. It's like a special of like all the deleted stuff they took out of the new Borat movie. There is actually a teaser trailer for this, and the bit that stood out to me the most in the trailer is while he's staying with the two guys. If you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's a portion where he's introduced to like the Alexa, like the Amazon like hub or whatever it's called, and he basically thinks there's a tiny woman in it, and like he asks, why she's trapped in the small device and stuff like that. And it looked amusing. So it seemed to promise more stuff from like the even some stuff where he breaks character. It was a moment at the end where he's leaving the rally, and his real voice breaks out because he's telling the driver like where to go so they don't get killed.
That's so funny.
So he switches to like a proper like English accent, like just but he's still got the stupid outfit on and stuff.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I'll watch the extended edition of the Borat subsequent movie film. That movie was great.
Yes, Borat supplemental reportings retrieved from floor of stable containing editing machine, which is a phenomenal.
I'm not going to remember.
That is a phenomenal title. It's a phenomenal title. So that's cool. Yeah. So it's not a new cut. It's a special technically, but I thought it was interesting enough to mention it was coming. It looks funny because Borat stuff typically is. Next up, Mike Flanagan, who of course has been making some moves in the horror world. He's been in a lot of prominent horror films. Dr. Sleep recently, a bunch of other things like Oculus and Hush. He also did the first season of Haunting a Hill House. He was still involved in the second season, but he didn't direct all the episodes because he's getting busy. He's doing all these big movies.
He's a name now.
He's a name.
Yeah.
So he's actually getting in on a new film for Universal. He's going to direct a movie based on a 1993 Christopher Pike novel called The Season of Passage, which is a science fiction horror novel set on Mars. So this is our wheelhouse. This isn't Streams After Midnight. This is Ace territory. If it's set on Mars, it's ours.
I've claimed it for the Ace.
The only exceptions is when it's a franchise that wasn't a sci-fi and then just has one sci-fi entry, because there was an argument. If
they make a Leprechaun on Mars, we're watching it.
There is a Leprechaun in space, so it's the fourth one's in space.
I know. We're gonna watch it eventually.
No, we're not. I did that already on Streams. I don't need to watch it again. There's a Hellraiser in space too. You want to watch that?
Absolutely.
Oh god. You can see a young Adam Scott with long hair.
I hate him.
He's awful. So yeah, Mike Flanagan is going to co-write the screenplay with James Flanagan, his brother, I presume, with the former set to direct and produce along with Intrepid Pictures partner Trevor Macy. I almost said Mackay there. I'm so used to saying Mackay. Plot details have been kept secret, but it's based on a book, so I mean we can kind of summarize perhaps what it's going to be about based on the book. Season of Passage centers around celebrity Dr. Lauren Wagner, who was involved in a manned expedition to Mars. The whole world admired and respected her, but Lauren knew fear. Inside, voices entreating her to love them. Outside, the mystery of the missing group that had gone before her, the dead group. But were they simply dead? Or something else?
Ooh, spooky.
It's a little generic in the sense that, okay, they're going to Mars after a previous mission went missing, and it's kind of mysterious. Like, I feel like I've seen that basic concept.
It's like Dead Space.
You know, even something like Event Horizon, which is not a good movie, no matter how many people say it is.
That's Hellraiser in space.
No, there's an actual Hellraiser in space. Event Horizon is The Shining in space, bizarrely. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. This might be very good. Like, I could see this being great. And I as much as I'm saying this, I've seen this basic premise seemingly done before. I do like the premise. So
I like the director.
The director's good. Now, admittedly, I only think one of his things has a good ending. He tends to flub the ending a little bit, even though the rest of the movies tend to be pretty good.
I enjoyed the ending of Doctor Sleep.
I enjoyed the ending of Hush, but that is the one example where I don't think he kind of flubbed the ending. Or he Flanagan the ending.
What about the haunting of the blank blank that you watched?
Episode 10 was the worst one. I heard
Was it bad?
It wasn't like bad. It got a little too, like, I'd heard it described as it's like, you know, something's really scary, and then the last episode turned the lights on and someone started vacuuming and reminded you that it's all just a TV show. And it took you out of it. It was a bit too sentimental and sappy, and I find he does that a lot at the end of his movies and stories, and that's, you know, something that, you know, hopefully he can veer from a little bit. But hey, The Season of Passage is the title. And Christopher Pike probably makes Tara think of Star Trek, so
excellent.
It's on Mars and there's a Pike involved. Our dreams have come true. Quick tidbit on the new Scream movie that's coming out. The first one with no Wes Craven involvement, obviously because, you know, he's well dead. But it's the directors from Ready or Not that are doing this. You get the 3 big cast members coming back. Tara cares so much, clearly.
Excuse me.
But the news here is that they actually not only had multiple versions of the script, they actually shot multiple endings to avoid spoilers getting out, because no one will know for sure which one's real.
Oh, fun.
It sounds like a fun extra for the Blu-ray, that there'll be, like, you know, 5 different endings that you can watch.
Yeah. Or if they just decide to put in another cut of the film, like, out in the theaters.
Well, I believe they actually did this with 4 as well. There was, I think, 3 different, at least written endings, may have not shot endings of 4, so that no one knew what the ending... Because Scream is kind of this weird franchise that really loves to have the who's the killer part be like a big deal. Mm-hmm. So I think they want to try and keep people guessing. So I guess the real thing to do is just to shoot an ending for every character where they're the killer. And that way,
whichever no one has guessed, they can put that one out.
Yeah. Yes.
It was the lamp.
So, you know, Scream 4 is probably the best of the sequels. I do think the ending almost was a really ballsy, smart, like, fun thing to do, and then they kind of chickened out and did the more generic thing right at the very end of it. But hey, you know, but I mean, nothing compares to the first one. So,
hey, I've seen them.
Maybe 5 will be good. I don't know. I hope it is, but I'm not holding too much hope. There's some casting stuff sprinkled throughout this news. Not all of it's stuff that they have to comment on that much. Just sort of putting them in there to keep these these updates kind of known about. So Aquaman 2, Pillow Asbæk, or Asbak, or I don't know how to pronounce this. He's best known for playing Euron Greyjoy in Game of Thrones.
Oh.
I have no idea to say his name. He's joined the cast. We don't know who he's playing though. So he's in Aquaman 2. So we can make some of these.
He is quite a villain at the end of that show.
Yeah. Next up, Renée Zellweger is going to star in a new film. She's attached to The Back Nine, a comedy that Sex and the City's Michael Patrick King's going to direct, from a script he wrote with Joni Marchenko and Krista Smith. This is her first film. This is Bear's first film. So Zellweger is going to play Casey Jones. Wait, hold on. Is this a Turtles spin-off? What's happening here? Casey Jones is the one who has the hockey stick in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I just want to put that out there. This is baffling to me. Sorry, she plays Casey Jones, who gave up a golf career. She's even got a golf club. That's something else Casey Jones would be swinging around.
Yeah.
Gave up a golf career so that her husband could have one. Oh, when she wakes up in one morning to find her 25-year-old marriage in free fall and her son off to college, she dusts off the clubs she tossed aside years ago in an effort to finally turn pro and redefine the back nine of her life. I hate that last line. I hate it.
I'll see it.
It's so on the nose, the back nine. It comes from reading a lot of TV descriptions. Like, they love to put those like sort of play on words things in at the end.
Hey, yeah. I like it. A tin cup, but with a woman. Sure, people will be upset about that.
It's a comedy though, so why don't you just make this Bridget Jones like 4 and call it Bridget Jones stroke or something? I don't know. That's a golf term.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
But you looked at me like I was just throwing something stupid out there.
Well, you definitely did.
Give me peace, all right? That's a perfectly fine joke. Bridget Jones' Caddy. There you go.
Did you see the last Bridget Jones movie? You didn't. It would be Bridget Jones 4, though.
You're right. I didn't see the second one either. So, and I'm okay with those facts. I'm happy with that information. Next up,
I like those movies.
Toxic Avenger is getting a reboot, and Jacob Tremblay, who looks like he's like 20 now. Not really, but
well, they can't stay children forever.
He looks like 12, but like, it's one of those things where you don't see them for a while. It's like, oh my god, they look like 40. Like,
yeah.
What's happening?
They grow up so fast.
Yeah,
those child actors.
He's going to co-star along with Peter Dinklage in the new legendary Toxic Avenger movie. Macon Blair is going to direct it. This is a contemporary reimagining of Troma Entertainment's successful 1984 low-budget action comedy hit, The Toxic Avenger. Steeped in environmental themes and subverts the superhero genre in the vein of Deadpool. I haven't seen all of it, but okay, I guess you could say that about it in a way, from what I know. When a struggling everyman is pushed into a vat of toxic waste, he is transformed into a mutant freak who must go from shunned outcast to underdog hero as he races to save his son, his friends, and his community from the forces of corruption and greed.
Is Peter Dinklage playing the Toxic Avenger?
I mean, did they say that? Let me just, I don't know. It doesn't seem to say that in this article. So
why doesn't he have a leading role yet? Because he's amazing.
Maybe he is a Toxic Avenger. I mean, it'll definitely look different because obviously he's like half the size of the first Toxic Avenger. So that'll be a little different, I guess. I don't know.
Well, here's hoping.
There you go. Toxic Avenger cast update. Guy Pearce and Monica Bellucci are set to co-star opposite Liam Neeson in a film called Memory. It's an indie crime thriller for Black Bear Pictures. Casino Royale director Martin Campbell is on board. It's based on a book called Dzac Alzheimer by Jeff Geratas. So it follows Alex Lewis, played by Neeson, an expert assassin with a reputation for discreet precision. When Alex refuses to complete a job for a dangerous criminal organization, he becomes a target and he must go on the hunt for those who want him dead. Veteran FBI agents Vincent Serra, played by Pierce, and Linda Amistad, played by Atwal, that's Taj Atwal, who's also mentioned in the sort of extended cast, and a Mexican intelligence liaison, Hugo Marquez, are brought on board to investigate the trail of bodies, leading them closer to Alex, but also drawing the ire of local tech mogul Savannah Sealman, played by Bellucci. With the crime syndicate and the FBI in hot pursuit, Alex has the skills to stay ahead. He has a particular set of skills, I hear. Except for one thing, he is struggling with severe memory loss, affecting his every move. As details blur and enemies close in, Alex must question his every action and who he can ultimately trust. Okay, that description was boring as shit. And the sad part is that I think if you boiled it down to, he's an assassin on the run from the authorities, but with one caveat, he's losing his memory, and that's making it really difficult. That's actually a fine premise for an action movie. A Liam Neeson action movie, that sounds fine. But they spent so long describing who all these other characters were, and they're just generic sounding characters. That was a boring read.
Yeah, it's a Liam Neeson action movie. I'm not going to say it. Not that some of them aren't great. You know, obviously Taken was great, but I'm not interested in that genre anymore.
Yes, but they didn't call Taken 2 Taken to the Max, and therefore they have failed and continue to fail forever. Moving on. Hugh Jackman and Laura Dern, you like her, have been set to star in the blue chip feature drama called The Son from writer-director Florian Zeller's follow-up to his Oscar-nominated film The Father. So we have Ian Cunning and Emil Sherman from The King's Speech producing, along with some others. It's based on Zeller's acclaimed stage play. The Son focuses on Peter as his busy life with new partner Emma and their babies thrown into disarray when his ex-wife, played by Dern, turns up with their teenage son Nicholas. The young man is troubled, distant and angry. Playing truant from school for months, Peter strives to be a better father, searching to help his son with those intimate and instinctive moments of family happiness. But the weight of Nicholas' condition sets the family on a dangerous course. It's a family drama with good actors.
Cool. We'll see.
Yeah, nothing about that.
I haven't seen The Father. I've been like,
yeah.
I don't know. I've been hesitant to watch it because it just seems like such a downer.
Do you suspect that this will also be a downer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I like Jackman and Dern. I mean.
Oh yeah, definitely. They've been doing some great stuff with HBO. Jackman did a film last year called something about like a high school principal, basically, who was stealing money, and he was great in it. Like I rarely see him in like a dramatic role where he's not singing or like it's just a love story, and he was excellent in that movie. I wish I could think of the name, but I don't have it stored anymore. I had to make room for other things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if they described this as a spin-off of Real Steel, well, it was that Jackman and then Laura Dern was playing Renata from Big Little Lies, and it was those two clashing.
Can a woman have a moment? She's so great.
I'd a bit more into it. Or any character she played in any David Lynch projects would also be fine. But yeah.
Renata is a top-tier character for me.
That's fair.
All time.
I think you would love Diane. If you watch through Twin Peaks, when you see her in season 3 as Diane, I think you would love that Laura Dern performance.
Probably, yeah. I'll watch it eventually.
Yeah. Next
Babylon 5, Twilight Zone Lodge. My schedule's booked.
Next up, now we don't really talk about things getting an MPA rating, but the more interesting part here is that it kind of tells us the title of a film we didn't know before. So there's a new Texas Chainsaw movie coming out, a new Leatherface film, and Fede Alvarez is producing, not directing, because I'd be very excited if he was directing.
Yeah, seriously.
He's just producing though.
He only makes gold.
Yeah. David Blue Garcia is the director. Who I don't really know from anything else. It's written by Chris Thomas Devlin. It's been rated R, which is not a surprise. Of course it's rated R. If it wasn't rated R, I'd be worried. But the title they classified, and I don't think they can put in temp titles when they I think when they classify with the MPA, I think it has to be the title you're going to use. Like it can't just be something else. So the title is just Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is really goddamn boring. And
that was the big reveal.
That's the reveal. It's just Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which they technically already used. I mean, okay, if you want to be really specific, it was Texas. Well, actually, no, that's not true because it was just Texas Chainsaw 3D and it just became Texas Chainsaw. So that will mean that when this comes out, we'll have had the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Texas Chainsaw, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Nice.
We'll have had all the variations. We're getting into Fast and the Furious levels of just bullshit titling with this franchise. Not to forget the fact that I think this is technically a prequel to the original, but we've already had a prequel to the remake, and we had a sequel to the original that came after all the other remakes. The continuity is all over the place. Nothing makes any sense. Don't worry about thinking about it. It's fine. But that's...
Which one had Rob Zombie? Wasn't he attached to one of them, Leatherface or something? No?
No, he was Halloween.
Okay. I was thinking he also did a Texas Chainsaw movie.
No.
Scenes in his wheelhouse.
Well, every film he tries to make is trying to look like Texas Chainsaw.
Maybe that's why.
Maybe that's why you're thinking that. He seems to want to make every film feel like Texas Chainsaw. But
yeah,
it ends up...
sweaty and dirty.
Yes, but it ends up just feeling kind of disgusting. And not in the same way Texas Chainsaw did. Like, I feel like I get a shower every time I watch a Rob Zombie movie. I'm like, oh, can I go and cleanse myself?
Yeasty. It's just a layer of filth.
Yeah, it's like a layer of filth, and then for some reason he always makes his wife take her clothes off in his movies, and it's like, why? This is weird. Stop it.
Yeah. Cherry Moon.
Is this some sort of weird thing? You're into the whole cucking thing? Is that what this is? Like, stop it.
He's proud. That's all.
I paid for my wife's boobs. Appreciate them. Yeah, so there's not a whole lot of notable cast. There's a cast list here. I mean, the first two that they mention are Elsie Fisher from Castle Rock and Sarah Yarkin from Happy Death Day to You.
Elsie Fisher. She's not the one that was in that that movie about the 13-year-old.
If it is, I suddenly oh, it is her. Okay, yeah, in that case, Elsie Fisher's important because she's great in that movie.
Yeah, what's that movie?
8th Grade.
8th Grade. Yeah.
So it's a great coming of age movie. It's like perfectly performed and directed. I recommend that highly. That was either my.
Well, that's good news then. Like maybe we could look forward to the film.
Yeah. Is she going to be like the main like victim? I mean, making your main lead like a kid in a Texas Chainsaw movie is actually really dark. Or
super dark. Yeah.
Is she going to be
a bit
like
older?
But even if she's like, even if she's like 14 now or 15 or something in this movie, because they've already shot it. They shot this.
Okay.
They shot this. I mean, obviously they shot it. They got an MPA rating. They can't get a rating without shooting the film.
I didn't make the connection until you said it. Yeah. But yeah, it was obvious.
But even if she's like 15, 16 in this, I mean, even that's still... I mean, okay, technically a lot of horror movies tell us their characters are 16, but they don't look 16. They're 21. Maybe. Sure. Right? So that's dark. Alternatively, though, I could see her playing like the deranged sister of Leatherface. Like, I could see her in a lot of makeup, being like the weird daughter character, because they always have like a weird family, and every version changes who the family members are, other than Leatherface. He's the one that's consistent because he's Leatherface. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, new Texas Chainsaw is something for me and Tim to delve into when the time comes. Before we get to the TV stuff, though, we have a trailer to look at, the one that I picked out at least that seemed interesting. The directorial debut of David Oyelowo, and I probably butchered that last name. I apologize. I've always had trouble saying it. But he is in the film as well. It's like the father character. Rosario Dawson plays the mother, but the film really follows the kids. It's the kids that are the main characters. His son in the film is the main character. It's about this legend of the Waterman. It seems to be like an adventure film where he teams up with this girl in his new neighborhood, and they go looking for this legend to go and, I don't know. I mean, before I let you sort of jump in with your feelings, it reminded me a lot of I Kill Giants, and it seems to me from this trailer that this is about a kid like using his imagination to get over how sick his mother is. Like, it's about dealing with that, like that grief and that stress. It's to give him like a fantasy adventure to kind of get through that. That's the vibe it was giving me. What did you think of the trailer, though?
Yeah, I mean, the trailer was pretty good. It looks, I was getting some, like, Goonies, but we just follow one kid. But sure. I also figured, like, yeah, it's probably just him dealing with grief by using his imagination. Like, there probably isn't the Waterman, but it doesn't really matter for the sake of the film. But it looks like it might be kind of sweet and like a fun adventure for kids, and with a serious side of it, like the kind of movies people liked in the 80s with kids. So hopefully it's good, especially for a debut film.
Yeah, and he carries. I mean, the kid carries about a katana with him, so I mean, it gives you that sense of like he's ready for a fight, even though I'm sure
Yeah.
nothing serious happens with it.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I kind of dig it in the sense that I like movies like this existing, and I actually really like I Kill Giants. For the record, I thought
I haven't seen that film, but I definitely was getting the same vibes that you described when I watched it. Watched the trailer.
Because me and Matt watched that movie, and we were both really into it. And not just because it had some Thor-esque like comparisons, because the girl in that, like, you know, has a lot of Norse mythology and stuff, and in her fantasy. But you know, I kind of dig it. I will say the poster that I'm looking at here on the article page with the trailer is it's almost trying to look a bit too prestigious for what this is. And I get that you're trying to play the emotional aspect, and that it's, you know, it's maybe a bit more, you know, it's a bit smarter than maybe you think it is if it's just a kid's adventure looking for this waterman. Instead of, you know, this is always really a drama about him dealing with his mother's illness and, you know, what he's going through to try and like cope with that. And it looks like, it's just from snippets of the trailer, it looks like, you know, his father at some point has to go looking for him because he's missing for maybe some time. So he's looking through the woods for him and stuff. But it does have an interesting tone. It feels sweet. And if it pulls it off anywhere close to what I Kill Giants did, it could probably be a very pleasing film. So, yeah.
Very cool. We'll see what he can do.
It's a neat trailer. Also in the film, Alfred Molina, who he may actually be.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Yeah, and Maria Bello's in there as well. Just other names that stuck out to me. And we have Amia Miller and Lonnie Chavez, who I don't really know them. I assume one of them is the girl character who kind of befriends the. Yeah. In fact, one of them's probably the son. Actually, no, I'm thinking about. I didn't even mention this. You know, the son.
Oh yeah, probably the two kids.
That'll be the two kids. Yeah, who obviously are, you know, newcomers because they're kids.
Yeah.
And they weren't in Stranger Things, therefore I don't know who they are. So, but no, it looks very heartwarming. Maybe with like a tinge of sadness, depending where it might go.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if it gets pulled off.
So that's cool. So the TV stuff now. Just a couple of quick renewals. Warrior got renewed for season 3, and more notably though, it's getting moved from Cinemax to HBO Max. Moving one Max to another. But we looked at the pilot of this, and it was a pretty fun kind of kung fu show, basically. Is what it was. It was based on an idea that Bruce Lee had once upon a time, and it obviously, yeah, it's been expanded upon greatly because that was a long time ago. But the martial arts in it seemed pretty fun, and it kind of became this thing where we just didn't have time to keep covering it. But you know, it was a little shallow seemingly, but the fighting was good. So for an action show, if that's what you want, it seemed like a fun time. So, and that was a while ago. So it feels like the fans of this have probably been waiting in a while to get a proper announcement to find out if it's coming back. So it moving to HBO Max is probably a very good sign that Warner Brothers think it's worth continuing and keeping it around, and have given it a new home. So there you go.
Cool. I'm glad that maybe now that it's going to HBO Max, that more people will have access to watching the older seasons. If it's because I don't think people really watch Cinemax very much. I don't have it.
I think the comparisons between HBO Max to Cinemax is something like, you know, 100 to 1 or something like that in terms of like how many subscribe to it. I pulled that number out my ass, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's even higher than that. Honestly.
Probably. Yeah.
So that's Warrior being renewed. CBS renewed a bunch of stuff. I'll just list them off quickly. But they renewed Blue Bloods, they renewed SWAT, they renewed NCIS, they renewed Bull, and they renewed Magnum PI. That is a lot.
Do they only make cop shows? Oh my god, for detective shows.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously you've not done TV news like Connor and I have for a long time, but they also have like a whole franchise. They started a show called FBI, and then they did a spin-off. Now, I always see if you get this right. If I told you, because they're really bad for naming things really generic, because they've got another show called SEAL Team, and for a long time in the news before it started, it was like, oh, they're making a show about a SEAL team, and it's untitled right now. And we were trying to guess titles for ages, and then when it came out, they just called it SEAL Team. And it was like, oh my god, that's so dull. So if I tell you that they've got a show called FBI and they made a spin-off, what do you think the spin-off would be called? to FBI.
Detective.
No, but yeah, I think there's something more associated with the FBI though.
I don't know.
The spin-off is called FBI Most Wanted, which, is very predictable. And now they're doing another spin-off called FBI International, which isn't that just the CIA? That's what I thought, but hey, whatever. CBS go to CBS. So, yes, to answer your question, yes, they make law enforcement.
And Star Trek.
Occasionally, I mean, that's not on CBS proper. That's on Paramount Plus now.
Right.
Yeah. They've done a sci-fi show that they've stuck with for decades.
And Young Sheldon.
And Young Sheldon, yes. Yes. There's a cop shows and comedies with laugh tracks. That's their thing. So yeah. What's this? Blue Bloods? Yeah, Blue Bloods is going to 12th
Yeah,
season.
it's been around for a while.
Yes, season 12 that's going. SWAT's going to season 5, Bill's going to season 6, and Magnum PI is going to season 4. These things
Clearly it's a reboot though, because Magnum PI is a much older show.
Oh yeah. They were going to
season
do
4 is a low number.
There was actually another attempt to reboot it. They were going to do like a female, like it was like Magnum PI's daughter was going to be like the character, but then they changed it and now it's just another guy who's in this one, I think. But
Lame.
for a brief moment there was going to be a daughter of Magnum show.
We get the Transfer 6 treatment.
Yeah. Because I remember me and Connor joking that I hope she still has the mustache, even if it makes no sense. It's important. It's important to the character.
Yeah.
So we got some casting for some shows. I'll do these fairly quickly. I don't have much to say about most of them. The first one, though, Gabriel Luna has been cast in the Last of Us TV show. He is going to play.
What are they called? What are they called? Clickers.
Clickers from Last of Us.
Yeah.
That wasn't really.
Good play.
I didn't even think you were going to say anything like that. I thought I'd mentioned Last of Us. You thought I know one thing about Last of Us. I'm going to yell something about Last of Us just to sound relevant.
Well, I said a Resident Evil thing first.
Oh, you said liquors first.
Yeah.
That's close enough.
Wait, clickers. Well, I hope Gabriel Luna is okay with the mushroom head.
Yeah, he's not playing a clicker though. He's playing Tommy. He's playing Joel's brother, who's going to be played by Pedro Pascal in the show. So I know who that character is, and I like this actor because I liked him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You'd have seen him as the villain in the last Terminator movie.
Right. Yeah.
So
was he Ghost Rider or something?
He was Ghost Rider in the show. Yeah. Much better than the Nicolas Cage version.
That's a pretty low bar.
It's a pretty low bar. He was good in the show. He was good. He had a good and even though I think they made some mistakes with that Terminator character, he was good at the performance. Like he.
Yeah. Oh, he was a threatening villain.
Yeah. So, that's cool. Skill bit of casting. A couple of quick bits of casting that I know nothing about. Maybe you may have an opinion on this one more than I do. Assuming you know who this guy is. But the House of the Dragon, which is HBO's prequel to Game of Thrones, has added Fabian Frankel to its cast in a major role, but they're not, saying much about what it is.
Okay, cool. I don't know the name.
Okay, well, there you go. As I can say, we can run through that quickly. Even though I invested in this, I won't have much to say about it, but just to add on, the Boys spin-off, which is nearing a formal green light at Amazon Prime. This is the college set spin-off in the Boys universe. They've cast one of their leads. It's going to be Raina Hardesty, who's from Brockmire. She's been cast. She's going to play.
Is her name? Wait, hold on. Is her name Raina Hardesty? Because that's what it sounds like you said. Because you had a hard time saying. It's really late. I'm getting tired.
It's Raina. I don't know. EI. I'm confused by the first name. The second name though is Hardesty.
Hard to say, huh? Okay.
Hardesty. The S is before the T, damn it. Or Hardesty. There's obviously, it would be in stay as well, but you know what I mean. There's no two. There's no T before the S for the two. Hardesty. This is the gold that you come to this news for. We've been getting a bunch of casts for this show announced over the last week or two. This is just the latest name. So that's coming. Good. Don't have too much to say. We can move on to this next thing. Unbelievable Director. That was a limited series on Netflix, which was pretty good. I watched it. This was the true story about the rapist who was doing these crimes in different districts. So the police departments never linked them together until eventually a couple of detectives sort of put it together after so many victims. It was a really good story. Obviously a really dark story and a really emotional one, but it was a really good show. So the director of that, Lisa Chuladenko, is going to direct the first 2 episodes of a Hulu drama starring Ellie Fanning called The Girl from Plainville. The series is centered on Michelle Carter texting suicide case, so it's another true story. So yeah, and the wheelhouse. She directed the first 3 episodes of Unbelievable, which was very well directed. So this is another true story, another sensitive event. If you want to call it that. This feels like this is her thing now. is doing these very serious, based on true event stories. So,
well, cool.
All right.
Nothing to say.
It's the final story coming up. just hold it together. Just for
I'm not
one more
into true crime.
Hold it together for one more story.
Okay.
I was going to say just crack a joke then, but admittedly, given what the premise of that show was, it's hard to crack a joke.
Yeah, it seems.
Yeah,
seems
I admit it's not the way
I
to do
hope they do a very tasteful show.
Yes.
Given the subject.
Thank you.
There's my comment.
There's a soundbite. Yes. All right. Last up then. Are you familiar with Markiplier? Do you know who Markiplier is?
I think so. Tell me about it.
He's a YouTuber.
Oh, okay.
There's video games. There's a lot of scary games, which is kind of what made him, at least part of what made him kind of famous. But he's going to be in a TV show. He's in a TV show. A YouTuber is now in a TV show. So his real name is Mark Fishback, and he is going to star in and executive produce a show called The Edge of Sleep, a TV series based on his Q Code podcast of the same name, created by chosen writers Jake Emanuel and Willie Block. Willie Block.
It's such a Scottish thing to laugh at.
For those of you who have not heard me tell you this before, in Scotland, Willie is another word for penis. So
right. We've all watched The Simpsons. We know who Willie is.
Right. The name of the name Willie Block to me is just cock block. That's why that was funny.
Yeah. Pretty funny. Lots of hard names this time.
It's not a hard name.
It's a hard name to get to.
It's definitely not a hard name because it's been blocked. I'm sorry.
Heyo.
That was a dumb joke. All right. So yes. So he's playing the same role that he played in the original podcast, which I guess so that's his in here. We also got Annalee Tipton being cast from Crazy Stupid Love and Eve Harlow from Next. They're going to star in this as well. It's a post-apocalyptic mystery thriller that will follow a night watchman who finishes his shift at work to discover that everyone in the world who went to sleep the previous night has died. That's a very high concept. He and his band of survivors must stay awake and uncover the secret of the terrifying global epidemic before they too fall asleep. Do you know what I love about this? I have never related more to a main character in my life. I am exactly the sort of random weirdo who would survive this. Because I am an all-night sort of guy.
It's the same plot as the Langoliers, though.
I don't know that.
It's a Stephen King famously bad movie.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate this. And then it has that Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare, sorry. Let me just say that so I can...
Yeah, I was thinking maybe they all just met up with Freddy Krueger when they all went to sleep that night.
A Nightmare on Elm Street element where they can't go to sleep after. They're too scared to go to sleep. So they're trying to stay awake once they're in this post-apocalyptic world where everyone's left, barring the I don't know, what, 2 or 3% of people who just happen to be awake all night? Maybe less than, I don't know. How many people stay up all night? I don't know.
If you like these types of premises, I highly recommend the documentary Hands on a Hard Body, which is about the people who win the car or win a truck by keeping their hand on it, and whoever lasts the longest, to see what happens to people when they're truly sleep deprived with the real motivation is fascinating to watch.
Hands on a Hard Body sounds really dirty. And
I'm sure there's other movies called that, but it's a documentary.
Yes. I'm sure
not
that's
a training video.
I'm sure that's intentional. I'm sure it's an intentional faux pas or double entendre or whatever you might call it. So yes, I'm still thinking about Willy Block. Just Willy Block.
Very unfortunate if you ever go to Scotland.
Willy Block. Because typically when someone goes by William, right, as a joke you might occasionally call them Willie, because it's funny because it's short for William, and you say, "Hey, Big Willie," right, and that's funny because you're saying big penis.
Sure.
Because it's very common in Scotland to say big before someone's name if they're tall, right? So you say, if there's a guy named John, you say Big John because he's like 6'5", right? So you say Big John. But when it's someone named William, you always say Big Willie because it's just funny.
Big Willie.
Yes. Or if you're being a little, if you're feeling Spanish for whatever reason, you say Senor Willie, and that's really funny because it sounds like you're saying Senor Willie.
You guys must have really enjoyed when Free Willy came out.
Free Willy was a riot. See, in primary school? In primary
With
school,
the Michael Jackson song.
all the jokes were about freeing the willy, freeing the penis for. I mean, it was primary school, so it was more about peeing than it was about anything else. You can I imagine that in a high school setting, the joke probably changed to something a bit more raunchy. But at the age that, but Free Willy, when it came out, I was like 6, so the joke was more about peeing than it was about anything else.
This show is over. Good night, everyone.
Free the willy. Why do we have to wear pants? Free the willy.
When you're 6, pants are worthless.
This is what off the absolute deep end. But this is what they come to these delirious news shows for. This is what they want. They want this gold.
It is really late. I'm getting pretty tired.
Should put all
delirious.
All the good energy into not Star Trek, into Babylon 5 and Twilight Zone. Then we do the news after, and it's just like, this is just the train wreck that it is. So I hope you've enjoyed 2 editions of News with Tara this week, because you're getting Connor again tomorrow, I think. So look forward, assuming there's news to do. Look forward to Connor tomorrow. Maybe Tara will be on a couple next week, because we're doing. Basically, Tara has nothing to do because she's stuck in a hotel at night for a couple of weeks, and there might be some extra Tara news next week because of that.
Catch up on some recording.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us. You can let us know what you thought of any of the news in the comments below. Please do like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot on YouTube. It is the way that YouTube measures success and shares us out to more people. So help us grow by hitting those buttons. It doesn't take much effort. Unless you're like one of those fat idiots from Wall-E who are like, oh, I need to press more buttons. Oh, the buttons are too far away. Unless you're one of those, it takes no effort. So just hit the button. Push the Whopper button. That's a Red Letter Media joke. I shouldn't say that. Smash that like button. Do you know? I know you don't want a tangent right here at the very end of this, but this is based on what I just did by accident. Do you know how hard it is when you watch like several other YouTubers and podcasters to intentionally not use the running jokes that are ingrained in your head from their shows, because you can't use their content. They're their jokes, right?
Of course, yeah.
But once in a while you slip and you say something like, I know I've used swimming in sevens once or twice, which I got from Easy Allies. Like every so often one slips in, because you listen to them often enough, they become your jokes because you hear them all the time. It's just the way things work.
That's why we have to come up with our own jokes that other people will use.
Yeah, like free the
No, not that one. We got a good thing going on Babylon 5 with Poochie.
From what the
That's a start.
From what the Patreon, I can't.
The importance of the celebrity of Garrett Graham is also high up there. Those have been my contributions. Oh man. Cut the program.
Patreon. Patreon plug it. If you're looking at it, patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. Go there, support us financially if you want for $1 per month or more, and it can help you all the content coming. And I think I have a new outro line for the news. I didn't have one before. I just said see you next time, but I think I've got one.
No, I don't approve.
No, I'm not, because you know what? Enough people ask me have you got any vanilla comes from, but it's so weird and unique it doesn't matter. I don't want people asking me in 6 months' time, why does it say Free the Willy at the end of the show? I don't understand. Why does it say Free the Willy?
Willy Block would be okay though.
Oh dear. Thank you once again for joining us. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.